What's up, family? What's up, what's up, family?
What's up, family? It's Chris.
And it's Big Call.
And you're watching Bad Outside TV, guys, and we're back at it again with another video, another request. And this one came from...
Dog, Big Mike Tripp. What's happening, big homie? You know what I'm saying? We mess with Mike. You know, Mike been here for a minute. You feel me? So, you know, Mike saying, y'all boys might as well switch it up. He ain't say it like that, but you know.
Yeah, but that's all we saying.
Right. Y'all might as well switch it up. Do some paranormals. Conspiracy theories and some more knockout videos. So we gonna dibble and dabble, see what's going on. One of the ones the most interesting one to both of us that he suggested was the Russian sleep experiment. One, because the thumbnail, this thing on the thumbnail looked like it's from Outlast. So
yeah.
So we like, let's see, because it kept people up for a long time and they had to cut it short. So obviously it got extreme.
Yeah, it's a problem. Ethical problem at that.
Exactly.
I'm surprised we didn't learn about this one in my psychology class. Anyways, so guys, we're going to get into the video. It's the Russian sleep experiment explained, I believe. But before we do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Comment down below if you guys like the next. Hit that notification bell, get notifications we upload. And subscribe to join the family. Now, let's get into the video.
A Russian researcher enters a room where he expects to see his human test subjects alive and well. Instead, he witnesses absolute pandemonium. He hears screams of the damned, and in front of him is a body that's been torn apart and eviscerated. It looks as though the Antichrist himself has been in the room. Even the survivors have had chunks of flesh ripped from their arms and legs. Their ends of their fingers shown exposed bone. Their faces are sheared of skin. What is this inferno of madness, thinks the researcher. This wasn't exactly how the experiment was supposed to turn out, he thinks. Okay, the food wasn't great. We might have made those beds a bit more comfortable, but tearing each other to shreds over a bit of lost sleep? Come on, guys. That's not very comrade of you. That nightmare scenario is
how long was they trying to keep these people awake? That they doing all that?
Really
rip your fingers to the bone?
From the beginning of the story, and then we'll tell you what our team of world-class
somebody was eviscerated.
Dug up on the truth behind this horrific experiment.
And
so it's
chunks out of their face.
And Soviet-era researchers have created a stimulant that they believe can keep a person awake
y'all
for a long
time,
which is handy when you're fighting a war. In the Second World War, the Germans had their version of such a stimulant, which was a formidable methamphetamine called Pervitin. The Americans and the British would dose their troops with the amphetamine Benzedrine, which was similar to your garden variety speed. The Soviets are looking to up the ante and use their own version of a drug, which won't lead to a total wipeout after a 3-day-long binge. They've made something special, but they need to test it on humans first. It's not hard to find test subjects since prisoners of war were aplenty in the 1940s. And where prisoners were concerned, bypassing ethical considerations wasn't such a big deal. They set up a test area where 5 subjects will stay. It's a sealed environment into which the researchers can release the stimulant in gas form and check if the levels of oxygen are okay. The subjects have been given dried food, each a bed with no bedding, running water, and a toilet. The researchers listen to the subjects through a microphone, and there are cameras through which they can monitor the subjects. The only portholes to the outside are 5-inch thick glass windows, which are barely good enough to see a shadow from. The scene is set, and the 5 men seem in good spirits for the first 3 days. The gas is doing its job, and the researchers are pleased about that. One researcher tells another, "Nazi meth, what a joke. Just wait until the world sees what we've cooked up. Comrade Stalin will be most pleased." The subjects have agreed to try and stay awake for 30 days, and have been falsely informed that if they can make the 30 days, they'll get their freedom. Such a deal seems fair to them. Things turn slightly dark around the 4-day mark, when the subjects start discussing war and the horrors they've seen. They speak of traumas, continual nightmares, other ghastly things they witnessed. Day 5, and things get worse. The men start showing signs of psychosis, talking to themselves, and things that are not there. They grow paranoid of each other and start whispering into those microphones, telling stories about the other subjects. The researchers, of course, know all about sleep deprivation. After 5 days, the mind can turn on a person. Hallucinations can seem real and horrifying. But they wondered, was it the loss of sleep or the gas itself? Suspicions about the gas effects were more solid at day 9. when one guy just started screaming, howling like a banshee and running up and down the room. He screamed so much he seemed to tear his vocal cords, because after a few hours he squeaked like a children's toy. A few more days passed and there was an eerie silence. The men could not be seen from the cameras. They were alive for sure, since the oxygen levels indicated 5 breathing men, but where were they? The researchers hadn't wanted to interrupt the study, but they felt that they had no choice, and so said into the intercom, "We're opening the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you immediate freedom." They heard one voice respond. It said, "We no longer want to be freed." What was this? Had they been getting ripped on that gas and were now addicted? The researchers said there's nothing we can do but open the door. They opened the vents and let fresh air displace the residual stimulant. What the researchers heard next was the men screaming again, pleading for more of that damn fine gas. WTF, thought one of the Russians. Those guys are seriously hooked. They opened the doors on day 15, and to their surprise saw one man was dead. You know what the scene looked like because we laid that out for you in the intro, but we didn't tell you what happened shortly after the gruesome discovery of the half-eaten man and the wounded survivors. On closer inspection, the researchers saw that the wounds on the men were very bad. They looked as if they might have been self-inflicted too. They had torn the skin and muscles from their own chests, which revealed the horrific sight of the men's lungs. Each man it had seen had performed this macabre surgery on himself. Blood vessels that were still working had been removed. Other internal organs were seen laid out on the floor like
First of all, they laid out on the floor.
They were going to eat those morsels. They were dining on their own bodies and doing it with enthusiasm. The researchers called for backup, not daring to go near those poor wretches. They closed the door to howls of the men pleading for the gas to come back. When soldiers arrived to help remove the subjects, the extrication process wasn't exactly fun. One of the subjects ripped a man's throat right out, while another soldier had his balls removed. 5 soldiers lost their lives in total, but some of the victims took their own lives after the event. Once the subjects were out, the doctors injected enough morphine into them to sedate the Canadian moose, but the men still fought like wild beasts. One subject bled out and his heart stopped beating, but he still carried on screaming, "Give me gas! I need gas!" His heart stopped and he's broken during that grim spectacle. The 3 others were eventually sedated and strapped and moved to a secure facility. The researchers talked to each other, saying things like, "That wasn't meant to happen, was it?" They hated to admit it, but maybe the Nazis, the Brits, and the Americans had done the right thing in just plying their troops with top-notch crank. The surgeons got to work on putting the missing organs and bits of viscera back into one man, but this guy almost broke through his restraints. When the docs finally got the anesthetic into him, the man's heart stopped and he died right on the spot. The autopsy showed he had broken 9 bones and his muscles were torn all over his body. When they tried to fix up the next man, they decided 2 deaths were enough and didn't use an anesthetic. They patched him up nice, sewing his ruptured organs and laying skin grafts on him. The head surgeon said this man should not be alive after what he's gone through, but he admired his own work. A nurse commented that during the surgery, the beast had been smiling at her. She did wonder how male carnal instincts can remain functioning during the worst times. Maybe with death comes the need to create something new, she philosophized, but quickly shook herself out of her reverie. The man suddenly started making a wheezing sound as if he wanted to say something. The nurse, quick to catch on, handed him a pen and a pad below it. The man wrote, "Keep cutting." Wow, she thought, what a maniac. She was glad she'd not reciprocated his flirty smile. As for the other maniac, he laughed like a hyena during his body reconstruction. He said he wanted that gas, the good stuff. And when asked why, he said he just needed it to stay awake. The surgeon mused, if these guys weren't so hell-bent on eating themselves, they'd make excellent night shift custodians. Cleaners, perhaps, or maybe security. But he knew all too well that they couldn't be trusted to wash their hands. Then, a former KGB agent had an excellent idea. Something that had amazingly escaped everyone else's thoughts. Why not put these poor suckers back on that gas? He said it seems the problems all start when they all go into withdrawal. Hi, they're okay, if not a bit hyper and paranoid. We can work with that. Once back on the gas, they were fine and dandy. But then something strange happened. The EEG monitor showed crazy brain activity, but then it just died down. One man flatlined. Finally, he just died. His last boost of that junk had done him in, or at least it seemed so. The last guy ended up back in the study room with the other guy seemingly dead on the bed. But 3 researchers were in there too. Suddenly, one of the researchers shot the commander and then shot the subject. He then shouted out loud, "I won't be locked in here with these things, not with you. What are you? I must know." The subject that was shot but evidently was not dead replied, "Have you forgotten so easily?
Oh.
We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free
What
at
the
every moment.
Not
of your
him over there
deepest
smiling
inner
after he done
mind. We
shot
are
him.
what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread."
Bro, this
That
is
was
all over
almost
the
the
place.
end.
Why
But
you
for
in
good
there
measure,
shooting
the
people?
researcher put a bullet into the man's
Why you
chest,
just pop a
which
gun
might
out of
have
nowhere?
bruised the
Exactly.
Hippocratic Oath somewhat. But hey, harsh times call for harsh measures.
He shot
The
him.
end. So, a lot of people seem to think this all actually happened.
Okay, so-
Now, without much investigation, one can easily tell by reading
So
this
that's all.
catastrophic flash fiction that it's written by someone whose grammatical skills need improving. Not only that, though, the story simply doesn't make sense at times. Quite a few times, someone dies and then just comes back to life, and we don't think it's on purpose by the storyteller. He just forgets what he said or heard. On another part, the writer says that the oxygen levels indicated the men were alive, and the researchers knew that, and then in the next part, he said the researchers were not sure if they'd all died. But there's more than bad writing that gives this away. Where do we start? Well, we might not need to tell you that you cannot rip out vital organs
So
and lay
was
them
that
on the
the
floor like a bunch
conspiracy?
of textbooks. That's pure fiction.
Or that
Those
was
men
just a
would have
story?
died from blood
No,
loss
that
or
is
shock.
not true.
Remember that
Yeah,
they
I
were
think
discovered
so.
like this and left for some time before the soldiers came. Okay, you say, but that was the gas working.
I'm gonna just stop it there, but I'm gonna say, like how they said, this can't be real. But I don't know, because when people own stuff, they be doing crazy stuff. Like how if somebody's drunk or something, they get into a car crash, and all of a sudden they walk out good, and the person they crashed into on life support or dead.
Exactly.
So
We from Broward. We
we-
done seen half zombies. So we know
if
what
you own
drugs do.
something,
Right.
it's stuff you could do, and you just look like, wow.
So when they snatch the finger down to the bone,
You own something.
and I don't know why,
Like people's on that bath salt.
exactly, the flocks.
Exactly. So
I don't know
I don't
what to
put it.
tell
I
you.
don't put it past nobody. I don't know. They could have
Mm-mm.
been doing that. They couldn't. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Like, I just know if I was, I would have left.
No, that's too much. The first time they went there and seen them like that. Oh, God.
Exactly, bro. Like, I'm not finna. Or I look through the people I don't want to be freed. All right, I'm not gonna free you. You in there then?
All
What
right,
you-
now y'all act right. Somebody gonna get free. We don't want to be free.
Okay, that's cool with me. Fine
All
by
right, that's it.
me. You in there?
All right, guys. So this is the end of the video. If you would like to see the original video by yourself, the link will be down in the description below. And so is our social media. Add us, follow us. You guys already know the deal. But since this is the end of the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Comment down below if you got likes and this. Hit that notification bell to get notifications for you below, and subscribe to join the family. See you guys in the next video.